I've always maintained that imbecility is a clinical evidence of criminality. I've always maintained it, and I stand to be corrected. And I say this in case a greater number of you from this particular post begin to wonder why Nigerians think the way they think, especially the people from the tribe of Igbo. I'm an Igbo man, so I can tell you people better that such level of criminality, hence a clinical evidence through imbecility or a clinical evidence of imbecility, is more with the Igbo tribe. I mean, when you see an Igbo man think because he's money conscious, you will understand that he's very deluded. They don't care about rationality. They can do things, they can talk like madmen. They don't reason. All because of the money.
And the installation of this king means to plant the culture and tradition of the Igbo in Ghana and any other country that we found that there are a good number of the Igbos living in that country. By that, the essence of this kingship has come to be.
A Nigerian politician and chief revealed something shocking about the Igbos, also known as Brafarans, living in Ghana, and also the Igbo king. I don't think this issue is ending anytime soon. No. Today is gonna be hot. All I'll tell you is to grab your popcorn and calipo, relax like the king and queen that you are. Let's get right into this video. And please make sure you listen to every word he says. We'll be right back.
The population of Nigerians in Ghana is about 4 million. And this 4 million, the Igbos are the majority. The Igbos here in Ghana, they've married a lot of Ghanaians, Togolese, Liberians, Burkinabes, and even Ghana, where we live. Now, these children are all Igbos. And if we don't let them know the culture and tradition of the Igbos, it means our culture is wiping away. And the installation of this king means to plant the culture and tradition of the Igbo in Ghana and any other country that we found that there are a good number of the Igbos living in that country. By that, the essence of this kingship has come to be.
I've always maintained that imbecility is a clinical evidence of criminality. I've always maintained it, and I stand to be corrected. And I say this in case a greater number of you from this particular post begin to wonder why Nigerians think the way they think, especially the people from the tribe of Igbo. I'm an Igbo man, so I can tell you people better that such level of criminality, hence a clinical evidence through imbecility or a clinical evidence of imbecility, is more with the Igbo tribe. I mean, when you see an Igbo man think because he's money conscious, you will understand that he's very deluded. They don't care about rationality. They can do things, they can talk like madmen. They don't reason. All because of the money. So in their bid and their desperate chase for the money, you find out that their mind, you see, that's why they say that it will be hard for a rich man or one that chases money to enter a healthy mental state, which is what we call paradise spiritually. They say it will be easier for a camel to enter the eye of a needle than for a man that chases money to have a healthy state of mind, to be sane enough. And that's exactly what happens to people. Now, what do I mean by this? How could this be your reason, your justification for coming to another man's land and clinging to chieftaincies and king? Ask me, even in the Bible, or where logic and rationality applies, have you ever seen a person leave his own land, go to another man's land, and start claiming kingship? If you've given birth to children with the ladies of the people you had, cling to, take them back home. Take them back home. This is not the reason for you to come to another man's land and start running all these kingship, eze, and all these things. Royalty. See, no matter how royal you are in your place, when you come to another man's land, leave it at the doorstep. This is another man's house, and you're coming to claim a king in another man's house. And the funny thing. The funny thing is that these same people in their own land can't even claim this right. These same people in their own land can't even do this thing they are doing. They come to another man's land and they start showing rights. Anyways, this is not something that should shock a great number of us who already know who the Igbos are. I'm going to tell you people a very little story, a real life story. So, Enugu State and Ebonyi State are neighboring states in the eastern part of Nigeria, highly dominated by the Igbo tribe. In fact, it belongs to the Igbo tribe. Now, what I'm about to tell you will shock you as a Ghanaian and as a South African. Do you know that the governor of Ebonyi State lives in Enugu State? The governor of Ebonyi State lives in Enugu State. Every single time he travels back to Enugu State, in a siren on a convoy. In a siren on a convoy, as if he is the governor of Enugu State. If it's not because the governor of Enugu State had to tell him, bro, they cannot be, think about it now, this thing is rational. There cannot be two governors in one state. Whereas your state is empty of a governor. You're governing your state from my state. And then whilst coming back to my own state, you're on a convoy and you're blowing siren like the governor. Now this emphasizes exactly what you people are seeing in Ghana. What you people see in Ghana with Nigerians who are Igbos, with the Igbos who are Nigerians. You leave your father's land, come to another man's land, where you should be focused about doing what you're doing. Do your right thing, establish your reputation. Peradventure you married those people's daughters and they gave birth to your children. When chips are down, bring back your children home. Don't come to establish chieftaincy title and do all this your fake, illusional, deluded royalty in another man's land. In another, I have never seen the most deluded sets of people than this set of people. I have never in my whole life. That is why when I tell you people that 3 out of 4 Nigerians are mad, people think it's profane. It's not profanity. I've shown you people facts and figures. It's playing out. I'm telling you people that's why if you come to Nigeria, you see lots of imbeciles, lots of mentally deformed people, lots of Down syndromes. Some clinical, even in the when they don't even show you by their looks, you will know because you see lots of deformities. You don't need their actions to know that these people are deformed. You just need to look at them to see their deformity. I'm telling you the truth. It's uncalled for. In fact, it's I don't get it at all.
There is a popular saying that came from the Bible and had become something even more secular. It's a popular saying. It goes this way. It says, when I was in Rome, I behaved like a Roman. When I was in Greece, I behaved like a Greek. When I was in Israel, I behaved like an Israelite. Now, what does this say? This is a statement that every Nigerian, especially the Igbos, should take to heart. No, I understand. I understand really that our insanity program as Nigerians and as Igbos had gone so high. But the truth is that when we begin to get resistance or Ghanaian resistance for our insanity, we begin to complain and then we tag it xenophobia. We begin to play victims. But when we are told to respect ourselves, we wouldn't. I don't understand why Nigerians and the Igbo tribe will go to a country like Ghana and start running all these royalty programs, these kings, this Eze, this chief. You are a stranger in Ghana. If you like, marry the daughter of the president of Ghana, you're still a Nigerian. And you have no right whatsoever to plant yourself or to indemnify yourself as to thinking that you can bring your gods, your foreign gods, to a strange land. You don't do that. From every rational point of view, when a person who is a stranger or a visitor brings his culture to another man's land, you're meddling. It's wrong. You don't do that. You cannot do that. You know that you come to another man's land to do whatever you want to do, which is positive, to contribute, to serve, and to earn from another man's land. When you're done with that, you go back home. No matter the years you've spent there, there is no need for you to bring your culture. There is no need for you to bring your gods to that land. You don't do that. You cannot do that. It's wrong. Talk more of settling to the extent that you want to impose your royalty program in that very place. Let me forewarn Nigerians. Ghanaians are beginning to frown at this. Ghanaians are beginning to frown at this. And let me tell you people, nobody frowns at this like myself, because I know how you Igbos are. I know how you people are. I'm an Igbo man, and I know how we are. I know how deadly we are. I know how cunning we are. We're so cunning and we're so deceitful. We're so fraudulent. We have all manner of criminal tendencies. But when these things are being reacted to with violence, because the things we do can only instigate violence. But when that violence comes, we begin to play victims. This was exactly what we started doing in South Africa. A word is enough for the wise. A word is enough for the wise. Take notes and take lessons or fall where you stand. It's very simple.
My brother, this does not make sense though. It doesn't make sense at all. If it's for them to learn their culture, I mean, for their culture not to depart from, especially their children, right? Then they should be going home now. They can be going home for holiday or something like that. Well, I just hope what he said is really their purpose of coming of settling in Ghana. If not, if there's other way that the Ghanaians are thinking, then Oyo for them, because I don't think Ghanaians will ever allow that to happen in their country. But then guys, the room is open for you to let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. Do also like, subscribe to the channel, share this video to as many eyes out there. I believe they'll watch and learn from it. I love you guys always. Bye bye.